internet! Hello, you lovelies! Let's talk about all things D23, and let's talk about D23 in a galaxy far, far away in Anaheim, but also in Star Wars. There were 3 major confirmations and 3 major conversations at the D23 super spectacular entertainment presentation in the Honda Center. There's 12,000 of us talking Star Wars, and I've got a Marvel video already up. I'm going to do a live action video, going to do an animated video, but this is all things Star Wars. So we're going to talk about Skeleton Key, we're going to talk about Andor Season 2, and we're going to talk about Mandalorian and Grogu. So if you want to hear about any of that, please stay tuned right here. But before you go anywhere, either way, leave a like on this video, leave a comment below, let me know which of these announcements you're most excited for. I'm just getting back into kind of conversing about Star Wars. I'm not as well versed as I am with comic books, but I do like the fandom and I do love the Star Wars world. So leave a comment below if you want me to keep covering this stuff, because The Acolyte brought me a lot of you new lovelies, and it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm so glad you're here. So I did want to talk about Star Wars with you folks. Without further ado, I hate long intros. Let's dive in talking about Star Wars. Star Wars only had 3 things on their docket, and again, much like with Marvel, I think that was smart. Marvel and Star Wars, I think, are the most expansive universes right now until DC gets really moving and grooving, and I think both of them have suffered for announcing things and canceling things, or moving things and rushing things, and all the variables that happen when you've got one continuous story. So I think personally this was a really good move to stick small. Now, Star Wars announced 3 things, or furthered our knowledge of 3 things. The first of which was Skeleton Key. Now, Skeleton Key we've heard about for years. It was literally 2 years ago at the last D23. We know it's Jon Watts, director of Spider-Man. We know it's Jude Law. We know it's a cast largely of unknowns. We finally got a trailer as introduced by Jude Law, and not only did the trailer give us our first footage of this, but it did confirm all of the Goonies rumors we'd heard. Now, Goonies is something I love. Goonies is something that's hard to replicate. That Amblin flavor is near impossible, but I do think they captured that largely here. That said, I don't know if that works for me. Weirdly, as much as I love Goonies and as much as I love Star Wars most of the time, it definitely felt odd. And I think long form, I might get used to it, but my initial 2 minutes, I was like, this is jarring. I hope to love it. I love when you can play with a genre and tone within an archetypal universe. I love when you can kind of enhance certain levels and make a bold thing in a universe so you're automatically engaged. I'm hoping that's how it feels once we get there. For now, it did feel a little off for me. I'm excited to see a new, young range of actors getting to play. I'm excited to see Jude Law looks to be a Jedi. There looks to be use of Force. I'm excited for all those elements, but so far the show itself, I'm more, we'll see when it gets here, than I am excited. I'm cautiously optimistic because I love Jon Watts, but overall, I'm just generally like, Star Wars has burned me enough that I'm not going to get excited until I actually see more than 2 minutes, but I am still cautiously intrigued. After we went from Skeleton Key and Jude Law, we went right into Andor. Now, Andor is my next favorite Star Wars thing to The Last Jedi, and I know I lost half the audience in saying that, but Last Jedi and Andor are my 2 favorite Star Wars things since Empire. Like, I love Rogue One, but to me, Andor was able to build on all that powerful Rogue One iconography and concepts and morals and ethics to long form. I think long form is often misused on the Disney platform, and Disney Plus especially, and I think it's really well used in Andor. The slow burn nature, the type of conversations you can have, the intensity of conversations you can have. Star Wars is political. War is political. So I really like that Andor had a lot to say. I really like that Rebellion felt like a rebellion. I really like that it felt like a world in turmoil, in a galaxy in turmoil. I love everything that Andor did hard stop. Next to Bill Burr in The Mandalorian, who only has 3 episodes, it's the thing that actually makes Star Wars feel like Star Wars to me in this new era, and I adore that. So this season 2, high expectations, and it delivered. The footage from Season 2 not only looks like an amazing bridge between Rogue One, which is incredible, and Andor, which is near perfect, but it blends in some characters I wasn't expecting to see again. For whatever reason, my brain's like, oh right, that is where that would go. But also, it's a pressure cooker. So if you know how things end, and you know where things are, it's just tension in between, and it feels like that pressure cooker. The action is insane, the tension's insane, it's everything I wanted out of a Season 2. It's only 3 minutes of footage, but it was absolutely incredible. I could not be more excited for Andor. It is very hot in my apartment. I apologize, the AC is loud, so I didn't want to do that to you guys. But I do think that Andor Season 2 is going to wow us as much as it needs to after the extremely high expectations that Season 1 ended on. And Diego Luna was there, and he was so happy. He talked about playing this character for 10 years. He talked about his incredible love for the fandom, his incredible love for the fans. His kids were there. He just had this joy and warmth, and it just felt so right to have him show us this footage, and to share that moment with him was just really special. So I really loved the entire Andor presentation, which brought us to the final piece of the Star Wars presentation, The Mandalorian and Grogu. Now, The Mandalorian and Grogu is quite high on expectations, not just because it's the first Star Wars film in theaters in years, but The Mandalorian is easily the most popular thing on the Disney Plus Star Wars side of things. Like, Andor is the most beloved, but The Mandalorian is like Baby Yoda changed Star Wars. Like, The Mandalorian is huge. So this movie being the first one back in theaters, as well as continuing that story in a way that I didn't expect when they announced it, is really anticipated. Plus, Jon Favreau, who nearly single-handedly reinvented this modern era of Disney between Iron Man and Lion King, whether you like it or not. It made all the money, and all the things he's done quietly, all the things he's done quietly to start these giant tent poles and move them along, I feel like Jon Favreau, as a creator, super slept on. Then you've got Dave Filoni, who is a titan of the Star Wars space. Them collaborating on this movie has me super excited, and even though they've only been filming for a couple weeks, they did show a little bit of footage. There's an at scene, which has me stoked. There's baby Grogu cuteness crawling out pipes and just being adorable. There's a lot of stuff that I'm excited for, but it also has a lot of things that kind of contradict where we left off The Mandalorian. There's a lot of seemingly backtracking that I know they must have a reason for. I know there's going to be a story element. There's so much that they pushed into the evolution of Din Djarin, sorry if I mispronounced that I don't understand how we could be backsliding. So I'm really curious. It didn't upset me because I'm, again, not as diehard of a Star Wars guy, but it did intrigue me knowing where we left off with Mandalorian. I'm really intrigued, and the footage was stunning. Just questions about the story, and 2 weeks worth of filming. I was super impressed with what we got to see, and I'm really excited for this movie. And I'm maybe more excited because of the questions, not annoyed by them, intrigued by them. So that was the Star Wars panel. Overall, really enjoyed it. I'm much more casual about Star Wars, so I got to be there as a fan, like removed, not like Easter egg, that's that guy. It was just fun. So I really had fun with those. A little more cautious about the Skeleton Key than I went into, a little more excited about Andor than I went into, which is actually more impressive because that was already right at the top. So very intrigued. Let me know what you thought of the Star Wars panel and the Star Wars news that came out of it. What did you want to see? Did you get what you wanted to see? Very curious. Let's have a conversation in the comments below. So that is going to do it for all of our Star Wars news. Personally, I'm as or more excited for Andor, a little more trepidatious on the Skeleton Key, and very intrigued by The Mandalorian and Grogu. What did you think of the presentation? Leave a comment below. Let's have a conversation like at the back of a comic store, which is polite, respectful, but geeky as hell. Leave a comment. I want to talk about some Star Wars with you lovelies. Also, if you're new to this page, hit that subscription bell. I'm trying to grow this to 40K, and leave a like on your way out. So much love to everyone that joined this page with the Acolyte. Hopefully you're enjoying my continued exploits in that galaxy, and I'm excited to do more, hear more, and experience more with you. Thanks for being here. I'll see you guys soon. Oh, and stay tuned for my live action and animated videos coming soon for the D23 coverage as well. Lots to discuss.